So welcome once again to Breakthrough with Jeff. This is the place we live life with zero limits. And I'm in this show with Coach Docila. Please introduce yourself, Coach, and let's get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach, for this opportunity. My name is Docila Ogola. I'm a certified life coach and the founder of That Girl Relatable. You can check out thatgirlrelatable.co.ke to just find out more of what we do. And I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much. Long time coming.
Yeah, by the way, tell me more
Mhm,
about That Girl Relatable. I mean, what is it about? And can
mhm.
I relate?
Of course, you can
Yeah.
relate. Everyone can relate. I think the whole point is just to create a space where people can relate with content that is out there,
Yeah.
relate with stories. One of the things that connects us as people are stories.
Yeah.
We realize that we share a common human experience. So when you come to the page and you read a story and you are able to interact with it, connect with it, then it kind of like reminds you that you know what, you're not alone. And everyone essentially is trying to get that reminder. Honestly, I am not alone. I'm not going through these things alone. And this
Yeah.
human experience is the same, whether you're black, white, orange, yellow, we are all going through it. We are all on earth. So basically, that's just the premise of That Girl Relatable and the work that we do.
Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing. And just to go on to today's subject, we're talking about living your best life now.
Mhm.
Living your best life now. And I realize most people postpone the
Mhm.
best life and, sort of imagining that one day I'm going to crash it. One day we will crash it. how do
Uh-huh.
I how do I step out? How do I step out and really live my best life now? What,
Mm,
where, when do I need to change?
mhm,
For me to live my best life right now in this moment. And and,
mhm,
and not and not keep on waiting for one day, someday.
mhm. I think for me, what one of the things that I feel like a lot of us should realize is that we have what it takes in this moment right now today. You're not looking at what you can do tomorrow, what you can do the next day, but when you're actually thinking about living your best life now, it actually
Yeah.
has to begin in the now, in the present.
Yeah. Yeah.
So instead of a good starting point would be, how am I living the
Mhm.
best in this moment? Am I doing the
Yeah.
best in this moment, wherever I am? If I'm in class, if I'm at work, in this moment, wherever I am, if I am with my family, is this the best? So just realizing that number one, we have what it takes, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it a mindset? Is it a mindset thing? I mean, why would I postpone my joy, my happiness?
Mm-hmm,
And what does it take for me to begin to allow myself to step into this moment and live my life? And those that don't, is it that they feel maybe they don't deserve it, or what's the challenge there, and what can people do?
mm. I think when we talk about postponing joy or happiness,
Yeah.
it's because I feel like people in our society today, we have I would say two extremes where we
Mm-hmm.
have pain and pleasure.
Yeah.
So we have
Yeah.
people who probably think that the more the more I reduce the pleasure, the more I reduce my happiness, the more I would be less in pain when I don't
Mm-hmm.
achieve a thing. So I don't know
Yes.
what you think about
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
How about what you think about the idea of pain and pleasure, and people really over putting their attention more on pain and less on joy and happiness.
So
Yeah.
as long as something doesn't give me pain, I don't take action.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, human beings are created to run away from pain and to go towards pleasure. And of course, the idea of a comfort zone plays a part there, because as long as going for my dreams means getting out of the comfort zone, most people would rather just stay comfortable than going out there and crushing it. But then at that moment, what you're missing is the pain of remaining the same. Okay, the pain of remaining the same, the pain of staying small. And sort of you've ignored that and made a decision based on the pain of making the choice, making the decision. Either way, you're going to go through pain.
It's true. That's the thing. Pain will always be there.
Yeah. So the choice is it the pain of regret, or is it the pain of discipline? You know. So do I go? And that's what the difference between people majorly, whether they will take action and live their best life, is their mindset. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he and she.
Yes.
Okay. And so for me, as long as if you want to change your story, you want to change your life, the first place you want to begin is your mindset.
Oh, wow.
There's a certain way of thinking, and it takes a lot of courage, by the way, to live out a life of difference, to really live out your life. Let's listen to this clip by TD Jakes on courage and see what we can pick from there. Guys, just a moment. Listen to this.
Do you have the courage to act outwardly on what you see inwardly? Or will you die a dreamer? Will you die on the verge and on the edge and in the land of coulda, woulda, and shoulda? Do you have the courage? I'm going to drop something on you. It takes courage to be successful. It is far easier not to be successful. Misery will always have company. Success breeds contempt. If you don't want to make waves, be mediocre. Be normal and fit in. And if you're more concerned about people than you are God, then neutralize everything He put in you. Just fit in with everybody else. Dress like them, walk like them, act like them, eat like them, go where they go, think like they think, do what they do. And once you've neutralized your uniqueness, you don't need courage. It takes courage to be different. It takes courage to go where you've never gone before. For some of you, it took courage to come to this conference. It takes courage to get you outside of the box. It takes courage to be successful. It takes courage to win. People don't talk about people that don't win. If you win, they're going to talk about you. Do you have the courage to stand there though the storms keep raging and the people get to talking, and you stand there and say, I've come too far to turn around? Do you have the courage?
Do you have the courage? I love that. I mean, if there's a word, if there's one word that you are assured of getting whatever it is that you want and going after your dream, is actually courage. Because most of the time, I mean, look at my own life, coming from almost 11 years of being unwell since the day of birth, and being almost robbed of your childhood, and from there begin afresh. You need courage to believe you're normal. That's number one. You need courage to believe that it's okay. You can live your life, you know, and begin again. And I don't know what are your views on what TD Jakes, you know, is saying there in that clip.
First of all, that clip is very fiery. I feel like when you leave the clip after watching it, if you want to start a business, you're gonna start a business.
That's
So,
right.
so
You sense the spirit. It's coming from a place of spirit. Yeah. Yeah.
super.
Wow.
So my thoughts on what the bishop is talking about, courage.
Yeah.
I think courage is one of those things that everyone can have.
Yes.
Not everyone can have talent, not everyone can have will, not everyone can, you may not be the best of anything out here,
Yeah.
but one
Yeah.
thing that you have is courage. So I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't utilize courage, and people think that to have courage it means not fearing. To have courage
Yes.
is actually acknowledging that there is fear, but I will still go ahead and do it.
So it's not the absence of fear.
It's not the absence of fear.
It's taking action in spite of fear.
In spite of fear. Acknowledging
Nice.
the emotion, saying, fear, you're
Yes.
welcome.
Yes. Yes.
You're
Bring it
welcome.
on.
Yeah, bring it on. But
Yes.
as much as you
Yeah.
are here, I will still
Yes.
move forward. I will still go ahead and do that which I need to do. And
Awesome. Awesome.
TD brings in the aspect of identity and
Yes.
self-knowledge, and acknowledging the dreams and the visions that you have. And sometimes, and he talks about, are you going to walk like everybody? Are you going to talk like everybody? Are you going to dress like everybody? And some of these things about our dreams and our goals and our living our best lives takes acknowledging who we are first, acknowledging some of the dreams that we have, acknowledging the visions that God has placed on our hearts, and being able to pursue them, not in fear, but in courage, knowing that, you know
Yes.
what, you're listening to your highest self. And that
Yes.
highest self of you is actually you paying attention to what God is actually telling you or speaking to you in your spirit or in your heart. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And but most people are attracted to the external. We are looking outside, not, the power within us, the faith within us, the beliefs, the attitude, and that's the world we are invited to change, isn't it?
Yeah.
The back to the mindset, because TD Jakes is coming from a place of, you got to train yourself to be courageous. It's something that is trainable. None of us was born with courage. None of us was born with courage. Neither was any one of us born with fear. It's something you can train yourself to have courage consistently.
Yes.
And listening to all these guys, I mean, there are great speakers and coaches online and mentors, but people hear all these and they're not inspired to take action. They're not really in that place of taking action. Sometimes you can be so comfortable that it becomes, like it's a challenge for you to take action. I don't know, what would you say to that? What would it take for someone to convince themselves, I can do whatever it takes to proceed and make my best life, possible right now? Yeah. What does it take for me to take that action? You talked about pain. The pain of knowing, okay, if I don't take action, 10 years from today, I'll be 10 years older. What will I have on my side? And life is not about, for me, it's not so much about acquisition of things. Is success for me is about, when we talk about best life, it's about experiences.
Yeah.
It's about joy. It's about love. It's about leadership. Getting to that place of expressing your soul needs, not just buying cars. And it's okay, to have things. But what we are talking about here is beyond that. Is having a purpose and a mission. Is it that people don't know the fulfillment that comes from getting that? Or is it that we are confused between the external and the internal? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
I think we are very much distracted. A lot of people are super distracted. So
Yeah.
you talked about external things and this obsession to acquire things. So people don't realize that, today I can acquire a humidifier. I have one here, and it made me happy for 2 days.
Yeah. Yes. You need another one now.
Exactly. And now you realize, you
Amazing.
know what? I can get as many humidifiers, but it's not going to make me happy. It's not going to give me
Yes.
joy. It's not going to fulfill me. So
Not lasting joy.
not lasting joy, so I would always be chasing after the next thing to give me
Yes.
that high, and then the high
Yes.
dies, and then I have to look for the next best thing. But when I am quiet, when I am within myself, when I'm listening to what really is important to me, then I am
Yeah.
able to understand what fulfills my life. And
Yeah.
some of those things are just love as it is. Some of those things that fulfill our lives are pursuing our biggest or our highest self,
Yeah.
the visions and the dreams that we have, pursuing
Yes.
that, leaving a mark in someone's life,
Touching a life.
touching a life. Those are some of the
Yes.
things that when you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, that was a good day. Yeah.
Because a life was touched.
Yes, a life was touched.
Yes.
Someone was
Yes.
inspired. Someone living a meaningful life can be creating a family that is beautiful, leaving a legacy that here on earth that will outlive generations after generations. So when we are quiet enough and we get rid of the distractions, not
Yes.
even just destroying them, no, but getting rid of them in our hearts and in our spirits, and knowing my true self, my true worth is not in things. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Who I
Yes.
am is not in the things that I have. Then I am able to separate myself from things. I am able to view myself in a different light and ask myself, so how can I live my best life today? How can I live my best life? How does my best life look like in the next 5 years? How does it look like in the next 2 years? How does it look like in the next 10 years? Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Someone said that in the next 5 years, you will arrive. But the question is where? You will surely arrive. But where depends with what we are doing right now. What is our focus? Are we focusing on what we don't have? Are we focusing on what we have? Are we focusing on things that can never be taken away from us? Or are we focusing on things that can be stolen, taken away from you in a split second, just like that? Yeah, the big question. Yeah, so look at this. Watch this, coach.
Is nothing as powerful as a changed mind. You can change your hair, your clothing, your address, your spouse, your church, your residence. But if you don't change your mind, the same experience will perpetuate itself over and over again, because everything outwardly changed, but nothing inwardly changed. There is nothing as powerful as a changed mind. You see, if you go on a computer, they have on a computer what they call default settings. So whether you're in Microsoft or whatever it is, whatever program it is, or any kind of program, it has a default. The default sets in the computer some principles and ideas to which the computer is committed. It does not mean that you can't function outside of the default. It just means that even if you deviate from the default, the computer will automatically take you back to default settings. And if you don't want it to do that, it's more than changing the font. You have to change the default. We change the font. And while we're typing, whatever we type in this font will appear in this font. And it will appear that it has changed, but it really has not changed, because the moment you go out and come back in again, it will come back up, back to default. This is how most people live their lives, because their default hadn't changed. Their situation hasn't changed. When they're in church, they can get this going. When they're around certain people, they can get this going. When you sing certain songs, they can get that going. When you shout and leap, you can get that going. But when you go back home, you go back to default. So you're going back to default over and over again. And when you get around certain people, you change. And you want to hang around them, because as long as you're around them, you feel peace, or you feel nice, or you feel kind, or you feel spiritual, or you feel holy. That's not the problem. The problem is when you go back to yourself, you're stuck in the same pattern that you were before, and you can't figure out how to break it. You've cried about it, but you keep going back. You've shouted about it, but you keep going back. You've even prayed about it, but you keep going back. And you can't figure out how somebody who cried for it and shouted for it and sang about it and started going to church on Sunday, and why does this still keep happening to me? I don't know whose prayer I'm breaking into, but I'm breaking into somebody's prayer saying, Lord, why do I keep going through the same things over and over again? I go to church now, I tithe now, I shout now, I leap now, and the Lord sent me here to tell you it's no problem with your sentence, the problem is with your default.
It's powerful.
Yeah, powerful, I'm telling you. The TD Jakes, the issue is in your default. And we always go back to that story. And, you know, I call it the most, our emotional home, where we easily go to, where we run to most of the time. And we sort of can't find a way to detach from that story. And so for some of us, the story began long time ago as kids. Our default is fear, uncertainty, depression. There are people, if they are not depressed in a week, you feel like something is wrong. You know, you have to go back, and so you get something to excite you for a moment, but then after that you go back to your default setting. But then, do you know what, Coach? I got delivered when I realized we are in control of our default. We can actually decide what is my most consistent emotion that I feel. What is the most consistent story? When I realized that, I knew I'm free. I can be free. Because I used to think, okay, our default has been set by some, you know, esoteric powers. And we have no control over change. But the moment I realize that change is possible, that any moment I make the decision to create what shall be my default every day, my story changes from that moment.
Oh, wow.
It's a change. It's a possible change. And for me, it takes that decision. Otherwise, if you don't make the decision, your brain will look for references, because the mind looks for references. And the references it finds is the old story. So what happens? If it only finds the old story, of course, that is where you find yourself going all the time. And so we talk about breaking the patterns of your default mode. You know, you can break the patterns. And to break the pattern, you have to bring the energy. You have to bring a different, you know, you have to appear in that story differently. Because if you bring the same energy, the same story, the way you've always done, if you do things the way you've always done, you will be the way you've always been. And so I realized, Coach, one thing to break through: shock your identity with massive action. Take action that is abnormal for your current identity. Let's say your identity today is, you know, I am I am what? I am lazy, I can't take action. Take massive action, and people will be like, oh my God, who is this? I didn't know you can do that.
Yeah.
What you've just done is you've broken the patterns of your old story of being lazy. And you've actually automatically created a new identity.
Wow.
Yeah, right there. And the power is in your hands. Because people say, okay, I'm so powerless, what do I do? This is where I've always, this is who I am. And people don't know how limiting that is. Because the question is, Coach, when did you decide to be like that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if you ask someone, okay, from when did you decide to be that way? Because some people just say, this is the way I am, but they're not conscious of what they're actually doing to themselves. They're not conscious of the pain. You talked about pain. That this being, remaining where you are right now, is actually causing you pain now and in the future.
Oh, wow. I think the question that you've asked, when did you become this person? You know, it's such a good question, because for a lot of people, I know they realize, they're like, wow, I actually don't remember. When did I become this person?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When did I make the decision? Even personalities, Coach. When someone tells me I can't because I am an introvert. When did you decide that that's who you are and that's what is going to determine your destiny? Because if personality, yeah, exactly.
On the internet.
You did the test on the internet, and then someone, that test determined your destiny.
Wow.
Do you know, by all standards, I fit in an introvert description, which is against what I do. I mean, the identity that I did, the first time I did this test online, I would not in my dreams do what I'm doing right now if I believe that's who I am. And you see the difference, Coach. You can believe that's who you are, or you can believe this is an identity you have. That's different.
Yes.
Because when I believe, okay, this is who I am, that means every action, every nerve in my body will respond to that definition, to that description. Yeah.
Wow.
And talk about identity. Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
I think we as human beings, we are so fast to attach identities to ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for example, you can imagine a whole person being told you are an introvert.
Yes.
So
imagine.
you never really listen to yourself.
You never try. You never approach that girl or that boy you need to approach.
You never do anything. Because you are an introvert.
That job, you never.
You never pursue anything.
And life, why do people have so much need to define other people and to tell them this is who you are? But also people have a very huge need to be defined. Say, please define me. Who am I?
I think it's a thing about worth, because when you're attached to a particular thing, we feel, oh, now I am someone because I have been defined in this way or in that way. Yeah.
That's amazing. So because I know most people will never take action unless they know they are accepted by other people.
Wow.
Most people will never do what it is that they need to do because they are waiting to be accepted by other people. They are waiting for the world to welcome their gift.
Ooh. What a huge disservice.
Exactly. We need to step out even when no one is watching. We need to step out even when no one is cheering. You don't know who you are serving.
It's true.
And when you wake up in service of God and in service of the universe and the world, and not for the likes and for all that. You serve a
Yes.
very high purpose.
It's true.
But then most of us are kept by what? We are waiting to be liked, to know we are accepted. We are waiting for permission. We are waiting for permission from other people. Do you know the mindset I pray for?
Mm-hmm.
The mindset of the lion and the eagle.
Mm-hmm.
Those two, it's amazing. By the way, the mindset of the lion and the eagle. Let me give you an idea what this is about. Then you can comment on that.
Okay.
There are only two animals on the planet that the Creator identified himself with. The first one is the eagle. The eagle. And the second animal is the lion. And when I identified those two animals as his favorite to identify himself with, I recognized I better study these two animals, because if he is the leader of the universe and I want to be a leader on earth, I better find out the nature of these animals and also the attitude of these animals. And I discovered that both of them are the kings of their domain. The eagle is the king of the bird kingdom, and the lion is the king of the animal kingdom. But let's talk a little bit about the lion. The lion has what I call the spirit of leadership. And this word spirit here is referring to attitude. Everybody say attitude. A leader has an attitude that makes him or her different from followers. Now, the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion to me is a great source of encouragement to all of us. I want you to write this down. Remember this as long as you live. Number one, the lion is not the tallest animal in the jungle. Number two, the lion is not the largest animal in the jungle. Number three, the lion is not the heaviest animal in the jungle. Number four, the lion is not the smartest animal or the most intelligent animal in the jungle. And yet, when he shows up, they all run away. Well, here's one of my favorite quotes that I put in my books, and I believe it really brings home the point. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. And the answers to that dilemma is this: because leadership can transform cowards into violent warriors. The right kind of leadership can transform a timid into bold people who are fearless. Leadership is that powerful. Leadership can walk into a camp of depressed people, and in 20 minutes they have turned on into unbelievable, powerful armies, because leadership determines everything. The lion is the king of the jungle because of one word: attitude. Everybody say attitude. Write it down. Attitude. The lion has a different attitude that makes every animal afraid of him. Now, we don't want to lead by fear, but it does take respect for you to become a leader. When I use the word fear in the jungle, we're talking about respect. The elephant respects the lion. The hyenas respect the lion. The giraffes, they respect the lion. What makes these massive animals respect such a small cat? The attitude is the difference. For example, a lion will see an elephant, and the thing that comes to his mind, one word: lunch. I could eat this thing. And he acts the way he thinks. Now, here's another amazing mystery. The elephant is larger, bigger, stronger, more powerful, heavier, and more intelligent. And yet, when the elephant sees the lion, One word comes to mind: eater. Attitude is a product of belief. You cannot have an attitude beyond your belief. So your attitude comes from your belief system. The lion is the king because of what he believes about him.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. Amazing. You get the idea, coach? What
Yes,
you get
yes,
what you
yes,
get
yes.
from that clip? Miles Monroe voice right there. What do you get from that clip? Powerful, powerful points there.
I love the
Yeah.
fact that he really talked about the lion and what makes him special, what makes lions special. And it's not because they're the most strongest, heaviest, wisest, most intelligent. It's an attitude thing. And for a lot of people, they've been wondering, so why is the lion considered the strongest, And it makes no sense.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then how that relates to us, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of our attitude is actually
Mm-hmm.
what will determine how far we go and the
Mm-hmm.
space, the territory we have on the planet. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about what you went through, that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
count. It's not about your name or your father's name, it doesn't count. It's about your attitude.
Wow.
Attitude will determine altitude. That's everything
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
everything right there.
And even
So coach, yeah, go on.
your belief system,
Uh-huh.
just looking at what do you believe about yourself, what do you believe about a certain
Mm-hmm.
situation, what do you believe about life, and those belief systems, they feed your attitude. So how you
Yes,
show up in the
yes,
world
I
basically
like that.
is
Yeah,
informed by
yeah.
what you believe. So if you can go back to what you believe and create a positive belief system, create a stronger belief system, create a more empowering belief system, then your attitude will definitely shift into a more positive one, into a more stronger attitude, into a more leadership kind of attitude, and you'll be able to see the difference that makes in your life.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, coach. And if you can't
Awesome.
lead yourself, you can't lead the world. The fact
Mm-hmm.
that the lion leads the world is because it's actually leading itself in terms of its attitude. So it begins
Mm-hmm.
with the inner world, being in
Mm-hmm.
control and mastery of the inner world. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much. Thank you, coach, for sharing and hanging out with me. It's always a pleasure.
Yes.
Where can people get you?
Mm-hmm.
Your social media. Could you share
Mm-hmm.
your contacts right there?
Mm-hmm. Okay, guys, you can find me on website thatgirlrelatable.co.ke, on Instagram at thatgirlrelatable, on Facebook at thatgirlrelatable, on YouTube at thatgirlrelatable. That's it. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Coach.
Thank you so much. And looking forward to continue this discussion. Guys, did you get something from this discussion? There's so much we've shared. It's even so tricky to just come up with a summary. But we talked about mindset. We talked about the mindset of the ego, the mindset of a lion, believing in yourself, getting to know who you are, coming out and, going for the experiences you want to create on the planet. What we can leave you with also is look at your life in the next 5 years and ask yourself, what experiences would I like to create on the planet? It's not about things, it's about experiences. I would rather have amazing experiences with people I love than have things around me that I've bought that don't give me that sense of fulfillment. Write down what are the experiences you want to create in the next 5 years and type them on the video down there, and we will come back to you. If you need a free consultation session, kindly reach out to us. We are here to help. And make sure you subscribe and share, and we will see you again here on Breakthrough with Jeff. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. God bless. Good night.